This morning I want to talk about peace and the future of Canada and the future of our planet. I think it's safe to say now that we are living in a very interesting times. Some would say revelations. There is it does mention the creation of the state of Israel. And again, I have always seen Trump as a wild card. But again, I find his language of annexing Canada and invading Greenland and building, a Las Vegas Strip and the Gaza Strip, Gaza belongs to the Palestinian people. Jews and Christians and Muslims have lived together in peace in Palestine for years until Israel was created. And then Israel's enemies were all out to get them, and they needed billions and trillions of dollars, actually, I'm sure, over the years from American taxpayers and Canadian taxpayers. So again, this is where we really kind of need to take a look at this. And do we want to support that? Do we want to support the genocide of Palestinian people? And look, the anti-Semitism card is the boy that cried wolf, right? Like, Zionism is not Judaism. In fact, Orthodox Jews in Jerusalem will tell you Zionism is an abomination, a blasphemy, which it is. Like I was saying in one of my earlier videos about Zionism, is that it comes in three flavors. There's the original Jewish, then that split off to Catholics, merged into Catholicism, and then merged into Islam in the extreme, wing of Islam that is now ISIS. That, again, if you listen to Jeffrey Sachs, he's really the expert in the world authority on American foreign policy, which, because he is the only authority, because no one else will talk about it. No one else will talk about the fact that we aren't the good guys, we are the bad guys. Like I said, I'm a recovering Catholic, and we need to recognize the sins of our fathers. Like I said, St. Anne's Catholic Residential School in Northern Ontario had a little mini electric chair to torture children if they spoke their native language of Cree. Going back to Canada and the role of natives in our parliament, giving them a true voice as the replacement of the crown. Because again, the crown is also another abomination. There is no divine right to rule, even if you do believe that you're descended from Lucifer himself, which is actually what the old religion is. The old religion is the belief that the divine right to rule with your royal blood, like royal bloodlines. In 2025, all nobility needs to be, I hate how it does that. It's always telling me to shut my car off. I don't want to, because it's, it's minus 11 right now. But beautiful. Okay, so here's where I want to go with this. So we need to really think about peace. We need to understand that we've been propagandized to hate the Russians for no good reason, to hate the Chinese for no good reason, especially when the Chinese make almost everything for us, which again is a bit stupid. So let's learn from what we've been doing that has been a disaster. And one of those things is how we approach foreign policy and how we blindly listen to American madmen trying to start World War III, which again is what they tried to do with my father in the Bay of Pigs. So this isn't a new game, but it is disturbing that Trump is using this kind of language. It's actually, I don't know, I hope his base like tell him what's what, because like his base are the working class. And the reason the working class has gone so far to Trump, and you know, and in Canada the Conservative Party, but again, our Canadian Conservative Party is like the American Green Party. There's no perspective there, right? And it's all sensationalism. But the reality is that we really don't have a functioning left party anymore. It's, you know, centrist to full-on neo-fascist, which is actually where the liberals and the Democrats are now. Like under Trudeau, he became a dictator. He used the Emergencies Act illegally, and then fought that and lost. And now, again, like I said, he's using very, very expensive lawyers to beat a dead horse. Because the reality is, again, I'm not a lawyer, but from what I understand what this lawyer was talking about, there's very specific criteria. Like it needs to be an actual emergency, sort of like we're having right now, you know, with Trump. Like Trump is a wild card and we need to address this. We can't just have a timeout so that we can forget about all this craziness that Trudeau and Carney have done. Like, and there's the other part of that. Carney is unelectable because he was the banker that made this mess. Banks are ridiculous. Banks have they don't agree. They don't believe that Bitcoin is a thing like that, or at least the CIBC doesn't. They don't seem to think that, you know, oh, Bitcoin, it's based on nothing. Yeah, it's sort of like the greenback. It's based on absolutely nothing now, because it used to be based on the petrodollar, but now that's gone for a shit. So, you know, the world needs to rein it back in, and we got to really look at what we're doing. So, and before I go on to, you know, my suggestion is look at Jeffrey Sachs and his work, or Matt Taibbi. Who else? Aaron Mate. I love Jimmy Dore. I mean, I have a lot in common with Jimmy Dore. His dad was an Irish cop too. Although his dad, his cop father seemed to be just kind of there for the paycheck. Whereas that's not the man my father was. My father really did want to help people in any way that he could. So, and that's kind of a good note to go on moving forward. Like, what do we do moving forward? Well, firstly, we need to stop the saber rattling with China, Iran, and Russia, which in biblical terms could be seen as the kings of the East, who fight the beast. So who's the beast? The beast is the United States of America, which is what Iran has always called America the Great Beast. Again, you hypocrites and Pharisees, you hypocrites and cardinals, you hypocrites and bishops, you hypocrites and politicians. It's a club and you ain't in it. And apparently either is Canada, because we don't really have a voice. We're just told to do what we do, and we do it. And I think we should stop that. I think Trump, if he really wants to secure our border, he can build a wall and he can pay for it. Or fuck off. Give your head a shake. We control the North. We are the North. And we are strong, and we are free. And we can police our own lands. Thank you very much. In fact, we could teach you how to do things better, and often do. Again, I don't want to sound too condescending, but I might just be. Every smart American is a Canadian. And the reason that is so we could definitely make improvements with our education. American education is ridiculous. Like, what a gong show. Where to invade next? What's his name? God, I never remember his name. Mike something. I always want to say Mike Myers, but no, that's the Canadian comedian guy. Michael Moore. Is it Michael Moore? Maybe. But Where to Invade Next? That was a great documentary. Because, and that's where I really kind of locked on to the foods program for technology. Well, I've worked in foods, like, it's a good skill. The thing about, if you know how to cook, you can cook, which is a good skill. But you can also kind of do that anywhere in the world. You can always get a job in a restaurant, Anthony Bourdain, I think, was going on about that kind of thing. So if you want to travel, it's a good skill if you know how to travel. But see, here's the thing. So we're talking about getting satellites from Elon Musk. We have BlackBerry in Canada. BlackBerry, just like Elon Musk, has been, what do they call that, shortlisted or whatever? And that's why Elon Musk has a grudge with the ruling elite, because they've tried to screw him over so many times. Like, I remember a time when Elon Musk was a hero of the green movement, because he was the reason we were having a conversation about electric cars. So again, this is all technology that most of this stuff started in Canada. Like we had folding solar panels and stuff, and all of that's just good. All of our technology goes to China to be developed. All of our ideas, all our ideas get out or just shipped off. All our product, our lumber, we don't even mill our own lumber in Canada. We don't refine our own gas in Alberta. Like, why build a pipe to the east when you could just build a refinery in Alberta? Like, why do we need to ship everything all over? Like, we should only be shipping. This is the thing. We have this 15-minute cities or whatever, and just in time, that's the term, just in time manufacturing, for auto parts and stuff. How about we build communities that have their own industries, like self-sustaining industries, like people growing food, people building whatever. Actually, I mean, in the old days, you'd have a small town and they would have one major factory or whatever, and everyone worked at that factory. Like in Ingleside was Domtar, the pulp and paper. Now, pulp and paper is a great example of where hemp should just replace that entirely, because those trees could be used to build buildings. You can build actually skyscrapers with wood now. Like, well, I guess we kind of always could. Like, that's what an old castles of old were, right? Skyscrapers made out of timber frame. Timber frame and hempcrete, and there you go. And you're sequestering carbon and trying to bring down that overall warming temperature down, right? Hopefully, maybe even reverse it a bit. Cool the earth a little. But again, I don't know. I tend to think we're playing a fool's game with that, because the real player in our solar system is the sun. And again, I think you should refer to Dr. Robert Schoch on his ideas of what's going on there. But I think the cataclysms that have been documented through Earth's history, I think, are linked to the sun. But again, that's my own personal opinion. But it's also, I'm in good company with Dr. Robert Schoch. But we can be developing our own technology here. Like, again, bringing back the Aero program, where we're building planes, but new planes with new technology. So instead of burning, jet fuel, what if we burned stored hydrogen, which we got from excess wind and solar, or hydro, or anything. Any excess energy can be stored as HHO gas, or again, just you could make bladders within water that contain air, which becomes compressed air. There's so many ways to store energy. A team of American and Canadian scientists have come up with a way to make from the hemp stock, nanocarbons for one, which are a whole new area, like nanotechnology, and nanocarbons are the next thing. But they've found a way to make that out of hemp, and which is, again, and it's also make a superconductor that I think is 7 to 8 times better than lithium. So we don't need to have lithium mines. What we need to do is have some new ideas. I can't say this enough, but look, we've been down this road for quite some time now, and now is the time to really examine it, right? Trump needs to be told to settle down with annexing Canada. It's not going to happen. Tariffs aren't going to happen. Just settle down, Trump. Sit down, shut the fuck up, and listen to what's actually happening in Canada. Canada is going to, we should develop our own space force, our own satellite systems. We should invest in BlackBerry, and BlackBerry should be what we use in all our, we could partner with BlackBerry and Dell maybe to make computers for our schools, computers for the infrastructure of Canada, right? That we invest in that. Kind of like Huawei of China, or even Apple for America. Canada's BlackBerry used to be kind of a player, but it got, again, it's just like it had its one hit wonder with the little keypad, and then it didn't know what to do after that, when obviously tablets were the way to go. So, maybe I should be the CEO of BlackBerry. But anyway, I think we should, here's what I think. I think we need to bring back more socialism in Canada. So, Canadian universities should be paid for. I think we need to give loan relief to everybody that's in debt from loans. That is just a way to starve the Here's the thing. We've had trickle-down economics since Reaganomics in the 80s, and it has been a demonstrable failure. What we need to do instead is trickle-up economics. Like I said, we could give young people land up north and populate those areas, and they would then be landowners. They would immediately have wealth, which of course they'd have to maintain. They're still going to have to pay taxes on that land. They're still going to have to pay their bills, their utilities, build on it. But nonetheless, that gives them an inspiration to do just that. And also, I mean, the idea is to create generational wealth for your own family, right? And we need to bring that back. Buying a home in Canada, especially in the north, should be extremely affordable. There's no reason why we couldn't make homes up there for like homes and lots for, let's say, 50 grand, maybe less. Like, again, we have so much lumber in Canada. Like, give me a break. Lumber should be damn near free in Canada. It's that whole supply and demand thing, which we have always struggled with. So, we have all these resources. There is apparently a place that's launching satellites. It might be on the East Coast, but it's a great site for that. So we socialize this. We socialize that as a part of our own Canadian Space Force. And then we can send stuff up to we'll start with the moon. Maybe we could build a permanent base on the moon. But we should also do that in the way that JFK imagined. There's a lot of conspiracy theories about why. It's pretty much settled how he died. There was a shot from the grassy knoll that came from, like I was saying earlier, a French assassin. And his claim to fame was the pink mist. So he liked to use hollow tip bullets. So actually that was sort of his own signature thing. Which no one knows. But it also kind of makes sense in the mind of an assassin, like they would want to own that. That was a big hit. JFK. They killed Camelot, and LBJ led America to the dark side. 11/22/1963 is the day America died. It was usurped by a monster. And that same monster is trying to start World War III. Has been for a long time. And we need to say no. Like, we need to say, we're not playing ball with you. We should build a bridge from Alaska to Russia that has a superhighway. We can transport goods and services. Well, I guess goods, not services so much, but we need to open up the world, not close it down. And we don't need a new world order. We don't need a one world government. Canada's fine to govern itself. Russia's fine to govern itself. China is too. And if Russia and China are doing things that we don't like, then we talk to them about the things that they're doing that we don't like, and we'll say, well, and then maybe tariffs or sanctions or some sort of economical compensation or penalty, however you want to look at it. But we could be developing new technology, plasma technology, high technology, even anti-gravity, that kind of thing. That's where we got to go. And that's also why the Tesla files don't belong to America. They belong to humanity. Which ties into the whole idea behind patents. We need to re-examine patents because, well, at least some technology should be completely open source. What I would love to see is, again, I'd like to see us socialize education completely, but also a part of that is, again, we'd have to make the military cool again. So maybe a naval academy that you can go to. Well, I suppose if school is free, you're not going to go into the Navy for free school. But I don't know. Well, my idea with education is we need to look into trades more and take trades more seriously. So, I know I'm going over a lot of area here, but again, this is all the economy and how we do things and world peace. It's all that it all works together, because we do have to work together. This is sort of the bottom line. So we have to re-examine our relationship with America, like, for sure. I mean, good Lord. America needs a timeout. America needs to sit down and think about what it's done, you know? And so does Canada. Like, we could have peace. We've been told, I don't even know how, like, again, they just sort of destroyed the peace movement by making all hippies Charles Manson. So again, that was like, look, television propaganda was literally imported from the Nazis to America. So it just continued on, right? Oliver Stone's Untold History of the United States is a great series for that. But again, I'll just end on this last note. Canada has always been a peacekeeping country, nation, peace-loving. That's why we do, well, for one, we do need immigration. We are underpopulated. If we had more of a population, more of a workforce, we would have a more thriving economy. The problem with Canada is that it is so huge. And we need to have more babies. And we should be, incentivizing that as well. Especially with Canadians, generational Canadians. So here's what I think we should do. We should prioritize our Canadian civilization, or our Canadian public right now, populace. And then as we start to grow these sectors and we need to import new, we could get doctors from other countries, and I know they oftentimes they won't fail, although they'll fail the doctor equivalency, but they could do a nurse practitioner equivalency. Like, we have a shortage of doctors, and nurse practitioners can do pretty much everything a GP does, right? Like, a GP just kind of says, what do you got? Okay, send you this guy, right? Or do you need this? And prescribing drugs and medications. But again, we also need to really look at drugs and medications, because cannabis is completely overlooked, and it shouldn't be. It needs to be studied, really studied. It hasn't been. Not very much. Not as much as you'd think, put it that way. Because everyone seems to think they got that right locked down, and they don't. Like, that's the other part of that. Like, everyone needs to give their head a shake with what they think they know, because they probably don't know what they know. Again, we've been told a bunch of disinformation, and that comes from the government. Like, I'll say it again. It's right in the CIA modus operandi that, quote, we will know our disinformation campaign is complete when everything the American people believe is false, end quote. They're bullshit artists. That's what counterintelligence equals bullshit. And bullshit baffles brains. So, we need to be Canada first for the first time ever. And I'll leave it on that.